Welcome back to Nutrition News Network. This is the second season starting. Of course, our last episode, full episode, was back on January 15th, 2020. A lot has changed, and there's a few articles I'm going to kind of go over today having to do with health. And these are some interesting articles that kind of go over that in detail. So I'm going to kind of go over those with you. My name is Brian. I'm here with the Nutrition News Network. It is September 20th, 2020, and our first article that we're going to be talking about today is about tryptophan and its impacts on colitis, inflammatory responses in regards to serotonin. Tryptophan, of course, is the relaxation chemical you've heard about. People talk about, the Thanksgiving dinner, tryptophan, when you eat it, things like that. That's what it records to do. Of course, tryptophan is also in that relaxation chemical, but also tryptophan and serotonin have a very correlating relationship. And this is very important for a couple reasons. Number one, low tryptophan and low serotonin kind of go hand in hand. It's kind of a chicken and egg scenario. So tryptophan, if you're low in tryptophan, you have more of a manic type behavior. You kind of have, restless thoughts. You can't sleep. You have insomnia, serotonin. But this goes in regards to the colitis aspect. Now, colitis is an inflammatory bowel disease that affects many Americans, usually about 5% of the population. But it has been increasing ever since the advent of genetically modified foods in the mid to early 90s. So in tryptophan levels as they go up, now this is from Journal of Nutrition, the levels of the colitis go down. So as tryptophan and serotonin increase, the levels of the inflammatory bowel goes down. Now, a lot of people think that tryptophan, what are sources? Now, a lot of these people are eating sources that are high in tryptophan, but they still affect their IBD, IBSD, IBSC. IBSC is IBS, common irritable bowel constipation. IBSD is irritable bowel diarrhea, and there's a mixture. So the incidence of IBS and colitis has gone up 50-fold since the early 90s because of the advent of GMOs. Now, obviously, the scientists will say, well, GMOs will help feed the world. However, you will not have the quality of life. That's for sure. Talk to anybody who's got Crohn's disease. Talk to anybody who has any type of disorder of the stomach and still eats a healthy diet, but can't even have a piece of pizza anymore. If they have a piece of pizza, it's literally their stomach. They're basically, they have to literally take an antacid because their stomach can't handle it anymore. For any kind of food, like tomatoes, well, that's another story. But the increase in tryptophan, now natural tryptophan is in turkey, their meats, obviously, but also it's in fruits and vegetables. It's high amounts in bananas and potatoes. You want to get organic sources, and this is really a positive response towards, of course, getting the nutrition you need. Colitis does affect a lot of people. It's very important to get that. So, I know since we last talked about nutrition news and what's going on, a lot has changed since January 15th. January 15th, there was no national lockdown. January 15th, there was no mask mandate. January 15th, there wasn't the 60 million people out of work and all kinds of stressors. But we're going to go over an article here. This is from May of 2020. And this is about 20 European countries doing a study about vitamin D linked to low virus death rate. And this is in reference to COVID-19. Can't say that though because you'll get banned because the WHO says vitamin D doesn't stop anything. Even though anybody even a doctor or even a nutritionist, anybody would tell you that viruses are killed by sunshine all the time. If you look at the sun, it is a microwave that literally has radiation that kills viruses. So in the summertime, you know, if you have a virus on your body, it is literally killed within a couple minutes. Now, the wintertime, that's a different story because it's colder, especially if you're north of the 40-degree parallel. You need to supplement. Now, it depends on your body weight. Obviously, if you take too much, you have to get your blood tested. That's important to do as well. But it's always important to take a look at this study where it says vitamin D is linked to low virus death rate. I mean, that's really important. 77% comorbidities included, but 77% lower ICU IFR rate. I mean, this should be I mean, forget the virus. You know, even if you want to talk about the coronavirus, I'm not even getting political, but I'm saying I already have a show that we do that. It's called the Eclectic News Network. But any virus, whether it be the coronavirus, whether it be the rotavirus, or whether it be, bat viruses, whether it be mice viruses, whether it be all types of viruses, vitamin D, having adequate amounts, meaning the middle level, you are pretty much in good shape. Now, with vitamin D, for it to absorb, you want to take it with calcium and also vitamin K2. That is very important because it will help with the absorption of vitamin D. Also, too, if you're overweight and obese, you will need to take more because it is a fat-soluble vitamin. It's more of a hormone. Now, Dr. Michael Savage says don't take vitamin D because it's a hormone, it's dangerous. Now, he's smart. I'm not. I'm a layman. But in the wintertime, I definitely take it. I take 10,000 international units a day between September and April. During the summer months, I don't take anything because I'm out in the sun hiking and fishing and all those things in the woods. So there's no need to do it. But in the wintertime especially I live in Ohio. If you live in the northern states, yeah, it's very important. But you live in Florida, there's no need to take it. There's no reason to, because if you're out in the sun, California, Southern California, Southern Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, all those things. But vitamin D linked to a lower virus death rate. Who would have known? And final article for today. And the superior forms of B12. Now, we always talk about B12. What is vitamin B12? Is it very important in the functioning of red blood cells? Energy. B12 in the most cheapest form is usually called cyanocobalamin. Cyanocobalamin creates a cyanide molecule that your body has to detoxify. It's a very cheap form. Most Chinese companies use this. Most companies that use cheap, inferior product use it. You can always tell how good your vitamin is, your multiple vitamin is by the amount of the type of B vitamins they have there. If it's cyanocobalamin, throw them in the trash. It's not worth it. The more active forms of coenzyme B vitamins are going to be 10 to 12 times more expensive. However, if you're older, your body has a harder time assimilating B12, and it actually can hurt you if you take large amounts of cyanocobalamin because it creates a cyanide molecule that your body has to detoxify. So it's very important to take the methylated forms, and we're going to talk about one today called adenosylcobalamin. Now, adenosylcobalamin is more of the mitochondrial B12 that helps with the cellular engines, because some people have MFR-TR gene mutations that cannot process it, and too much methylcobalamin, which is another active form, can actually do harm. That's why with a multiple vitamin, I recommend Wellness Resources has a good one where they have a mixture of 50% methylcobalamin and 50% adenosylcobalamin. These are very important to have both parts because it helps the brain. The 1B12, which is the adenosylcobalamin, methyl helps the mitochondria with the adenosylcobalamin. But adenosylcobalamin is straight B12. It just goes right through you. There's no building blocks like a Tinker Toy set, like a Erector set when you're a kid. Building blocks to change over to methylcobalamin. It just goes straight to your cells. That's why it's expensive. A 60 lozenge or 60 dose supply is usually about $20. Where if you get, you can get a 250 dose supply of cyanocobalamin drops for like $4. So there's big differences. This is the stuff they usually use with a mixture of that for B12 injections. Very good. Adenosylcobalamin is very good for energy levels in the blood. Why is that important? Because as you age, your body does not assimilate proteins, vitamins, minerals as well because your stomach loses absorption. That's why active B12 has betaine. Betaine HCl is hydrochloric acid. What does hydrochloric acid do? Hydrochloric acid actually goes ahead into your stomach and breaks down the proteins. If you do not have that in good amounts, which it diminishes as you age or diet, you get what is called acid reflux. It's a lack of acid. It's not an increase of acid that causes acid reflux. It's a lack of hydrochloric acid, which is also another thing that's a byproduct of adenosylcobalamin, which is trimyglycine, which is betadine. And this is that's something I take, but it's it's a digestive aid. But you don't even have to take that. You can take the adenosylcobalamin with the coenzyme B vitamins, and there you go. Because some people will take all these different vitamins. There's no need to if you have the coenzyme B vitamins. That breaks down the cellular process. That's what I'm talking about. So this is a very good thing to get in liquid form, especially if you have absorption issues or you have Crohn's or if you have some other digestive problems. These are very good for that. So those are the stories for today. We'll be out for next episode. Don't forget to click on subscribe at the bottom of the video there, and I will talk to you soon. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. Anything discussed at Nutrition News Network is not intended to treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Nutrition News Network. All rights reserved. Copyright 2020.